Okay, today is class 2 of MEP CAD 214 on February 2nd of 2022. Lots of twos there. Let's just open up the floor for conversation about how y'all think things are going, any issues that you're having. What are y'all's thoughts on what you've kind of worked on so far?
Well, sorry, I'll jump in, but yeah, and there was no problem creating the floor plans, obviously, and doing all of the dimensioning. My only problem was when I tagged the rooms, I couldn't get them to show the square footage. I just did the general square footage of the building, basically, 50 feet by 100 feet is 5,000 feet on 2 floors. I divided the number of people up 200 to 100 a floor, and then did everything that way. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, that sounds like it'll be fine. It's weird that you weren't able to get, it sounded like when you texted me earlier, you were having some issues with the mechanical template as well, but you were
I
able to
did,
solve that.
and I figured that out by going underneath the modify button on the top left of the screen, and then the click down arrow, and select underlay elements was not clicked. And all I did was select that box, and it allowed me to go back to, Revit as I know it. So everything's fine with that now.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was strange. Let me take a look at that on my end. And just in case you guys are having the same issue, let me show you what he's talking about. So when we go into a new file, and on this one, I asked you to work in mechanical. Let me just throw up some walls real quick. So it was not allowing you to select anything under here.
Correct.
And then you went over here.
Correct.
Okay. Great. So if anyone is having the same issue, you should be able to select the walls and stuff like I'm doing here. If you are unable to, follow Jonathan's instructions and click on, make sure this box is checked, select underlay elements, so you're able to do that. And then let me check the room. Yes, we do want that. So you got your room tag in there, and then room tag, edit type, and you clicked on show area here.
Oh, maybe that's not selected. Okay, let me go try that.
It's not a big deal that now that you did the right thing, you just using those calculations. That's perfectly fine. But I just want to make sure that that works for you. So just go back and check that when you get a chance. So it could just be that. It's always something simple.
Yeah.
Amazing. So any other issues, guys? Y'all doing okay?
Yeah, so when I went to look at the 3D view of it, it wouldn't like show it realistic. It would just show it in the frame like that.
Yes, great catch. It's not going to show in realistic in this view in mechanical when we put it in here, because when we start laying out our ducts, you're going to see why it does that. So we're not really necessarily working on. That's why I'm not worried about what the building looks like, what kind of walls you use for this. I just wanted you to all have the same footprint to start. But yeah, it's not going to show up like that in realistic, because once we start dropping in our vents and things like that, you'll see how they're going to populate in there. So
Okay.
yeah, that's a good catch. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Can I ask one more question also?
Yeah, definitely.
I put like, I don't know, an 18-inch cement floor on the bottom, just, I don't know, to have a floor.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't add any floor to the second floor. Did you want us to go ahead and do that?
Yes. Yeah.
So this was a problem for me. It only allowed me to do a 12-inch generic floor. It didn't give me all the options. It was sort of a weird thing.
That's okay. On this one, we're not necessarily worried about floors either. What we're hoping to do is on, let me see. We should be able to just use a structural floor in here. Oh, look, I've got the same, fun. That did not happen before. Let me try something else. Because when I created this before, I was able to use, oh, I gotta cancel that. Just a different type of floor. Fun.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it showed me. Just, oh, that's the only floor. I couldn't get into any other kind of flooring.
Okay, so we'll drop that in. We'll just go into edit type there, edit, and we'll change the information here. What it was hoping that you could use is a structural floor that's a 3-inch corrugated concrete floor, but
Oh,
that's not really the thing that we're worried about. What the building is made out of right now, it's just getting it set so we can incorporate all of our HVAC stuff and things like that. So this is fine to use this, but if you want, what I would suggest is go into edit type, duplicate, rename, and change this to a 3-inch and make this concrete. And
okay.
that's one of the drawbacks about using different templates is some things aren't loaded in. So if we go back and let's go to my level 1 here. This is the type of floor that I'm using that is obviously not loaded into the mechanical side. But like I said, it's not, this isn't the important part. The important part is being able to put in our mechanical stuff. But just to show you what the difference is that I was looking at.
But aren't we gonna want to have like a drop ceiling so we can put the plenum in there and all that crap?
Correct. That's why I want you to change that to 3 inches at that
Okay.
point. And then we're going to have an 8-inch ceiling right there. Oh, 8
Or
inch, excuse me.
8
foot.
foot.
And
Yeah,
this
okay.
space between here and here is going to be our plenum that we're going to work with.
Okay.
So yeah, if you kept that at 12 inches, that would cut out so much workable space right here. We'd have to add
Right.
like another foot and all that stuff and adjust heights and things. So just the easiest thing for us to do at this moment with just being able to use that generic, which is something that's typical for mechanical, just change it to 3 inches.
Okay.
So when we do actually import stuff, you'll see the difference between that too. But just to start, I wanted to kind of do it this way. So any questions about calculations, guys? All right, now if we go to mods and in our mod 1, because I did the calculations on there as well, it was coming out to a really large number because of the way I constructed that. So using the calculation that I gave you before, we had 100 times 50 to give us 5,000 square feet, 8 windows, 1 door, and I said 200 people max. So that, I don't know if y'all came out the same thing. So for 200 people max, it came out to like 4 million, which was weird. I didn't think about that because this is originally a residential calculation. And it doesn't really translate to commercial. So I looked up another one for you. As you can see, this is the lovely part about doing the HVAC stuff is there's so many different calculations. So I inserted this one. This makes a little bit more sense, and it actually uses a 5,000 square foot building here. So we can use these calculations. And if you want to follow through with those, you can play with that as well. I would use this.
I'm sorry, real quick, Miss Martin.
Yeah.
Was that, so I'm sorry, that was 200 people per floor.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
not bad.
yeah, it's fine. I may not have been clear about that, so it's fine either way. But I'd go back and I'd use these calculations instead because they've got everything broken down for you a lot better, and it breaks down into BTUs and things. So I know I had you do the other one, but once I did it as well, this is why everything's run through a computer now. They have online calculators instead of doing stuff by hand. And it is the frustrating part about the HVAC system. But do this one, and then we're going to jump into ductwork as well. I put this alternate load calculation in here for you. So that's loaded in there. Also, and here is the duct sizing for you. Duct sizing calculations, and these are easy to follow. You can read through this information right here and then follow these calculations down here. A lot of it's the same information that you have already. A couple of different things that we're going to take a look at on here is the cubic feet per meter per minute for the airflow. So there's different types of airflow depending on the type of unit that you have that we read before. So we have a natural draft unit, which does 100 CFM, this induced furnace, which is 130, and then the condensing furnace, most of them will be a condensing furnace, it's 150 CFM. With our commercial buildings, we're going to be looking at a larger CFM too, because we're looking at larger space and you're pushing that air a further distance as well. So we also have in our files, under our HVAC materials, we have our duct sizing. So if we open up our duct sizing here, you can see for the commercial, for the residential units, if you have 150 CFM air volume, you're going to be looking at an air vent that's 10 inches by 4 inches or 8 inches by 6 inches. And that will also correspond to the size of the ductwork that you're going to be using. What I want you to use this chart for is, say we have a CFM of 275 to 300. And we're going to be using duct vent sizes that'll be 12 by 6 or 8 by 8. I'll leave that up to you to select which one you want to use, but these are the two options that we're going to have: a 12 by 6 vent or an 8 by 8 vent. Of course, you know that's where the air comes out of the ductwork into the room. So use that 300 figure here for your condensing furnace. That'll equate to that vent size that I showed you there. So use that here. And then finish this calculation as well. So this is what we'll need for Monday with your other information, with your completed BIM model. And then from there on Monday, we'll get over this stuff that's pretty dry and all math involved, and let's actually get into some fun stuff and figure out how to lay out this HVAC system. So we'll be done with the calculations this week and jump right into, excuse me, our Revit stuff next week, where we'll start laying things out. So you should be at a point where your building kind of looks like this. And the most important thing right here is this plenum space here. And then also you're going to want to put your drop ceiling here and also a finished ceiling above it. So we'll have that finished ceiling there as well. So we'll be doing an HVAC system for the first floor and second floor. This one is really probably the most challenging, just fitting everything between this space right here. Any questions, guys?
What do you want that finished ceiling to be made of above the second floor?
Oh, you can just do that the same type of floor that we have here. It's going to be that basic. It's going to be that the basic one that you had, the only one that we can use. The basic 12-inch, and just change that to 3 inches as well. So it would be similar to, what I'm preferably be what I'm showing here.
Cool.
But we'll just, we're not going to have that because it's, mechanical template's not set up for that. We're just gonna use the basic floor so we can have something in line. Just make it 3 inches because it'll just be easier to work with.
Okay, cool.
So let's get this wrapped up and get our calculations done and out of the way. We'll meet on Monday and we'll take all those calculations that you've created and we'll apply those into creating the HVAC system and actually get into some fun stuff. So that's it, unless y'all have any other questions or need anything. All right, text me. I'm sorry I'm not available as much this semester. I just I have a very large workload in a couple of different places right now, so I'm being pulled in every direction possible. If you do need to meet, text me, and if we need to set up a time, that might be best, but I'll still try and get back to y'all as soon as I can with text messages, any questions that you have. So that's pretty much it for today. Let's get through the dry stuff and we'll get into the fun stuff next week.
Thank you.
All right, thanks guys. Take care. Have a great week. I'll see you Monday.
Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye-bye.